Hello. I need to interrupt the California programming because a situation developed in the last week that I think is more important to discuss. This video has to do with art and artists. Last week was a real roller coaster for one of my favorite bands, Bright Eyes. They did 3 secret shows to promote their new album, one in Chicago, one in Cleveland, and one in Philadelphia. I was not at the Cleveland show, and I refuse to watch the YouTube videos because it seems weird and kind of mean to gawk at something like this, but apparently the frontman, Conor Oberst, just did not have a good show. I know that's an understatement, I just don't really want to belabor that point. I was at the Philadelphia show the next night, and I gotta tell you, he rocked, the whole band rocked, everyone rocked, it was a good time, and I got my first set list. The next day there was an announcement. They said that Bright Eyes had to cancel the rest of their September dates. Then on Friday, the album was officially released. Some people got the album early. I did not. So I have not listened to it yet. I went through the Bright Eyes subreddit to see what the general consensus was, and it was a lot of mixed reviews. Whatever, it's Reddit. I didn't really put that much stock into it. In my second spin through the Bright Eyes subreddit, there's apparently a decent sized contingent in the Bright Eyes fan base that really only likes either one album, which is a folkier album called I'm Wide Awake It's Morning, or his older, more lo-fi emo-ish albums from 1998 and 2000, I think. There were also a lot of complaints about the album quality in the context of a lot of personal factors that really none of us know about Conor Oberst. Mental health, relationships, etc. Basically accusing him of phoning it in on this album because of how he was at the Cleveland show, and citing the fact that he has a 2-album deal with Dead Oceans, and so he just had to get this one out of the way. All of this just kind of blew my mind. Maybe it's no surprise to other people, but this is all news to me. Quick background on my history of listening to Bright Eyes. Bright Eyes was my first concert ever. I was 13. It was the Move On Pack show at the Wachovia Center here in Philadelphia to support the John Kerry campaign, just shy of 20 years ago now. We went to see Bruce Springsteen, REM, and John Fogerty, and when we got there, we saw that there was this other group on the bill called Bright Eyes that none of us had ever heard of. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Seeing him at that show that night changed my relationship with music forever. I took classical piano lessons for 11 years, and most of my music tastes came from my parents. This is the first time I really felt like I discovered an artist on my own, and I just dove headfirst into it. So a couple months later, my dad bought the album Lifted, and from that point on, I was just hooked. Every album that they've released has been really different from the last, but they all have this commonality of real excellence in musicianship, production, arrangement. All the technicals are really locked in. And I feel like I've grown up alongside the emotional content of the music as it's changed over the years, and that's just further cemented it as a fixture in my life. I feel like that show was the day that I became my own person. And in a way, it's really exciting when a new album comes out because it just feels like it's the start of a new season in my life. I hope that makes me sort of qualified to talk about this, along with the fact that my fiance is a musician. Anyway, you can imagine my horror then when I discovered that there were people, and lots of people, who wanted Bright Eyes to just stick to Americana or, whatever genre the band was exploring at the time. What a just ridiculous criticism. Imagine expecting a band to put out the same thing over and over again for 2 decades. It's just boring. Now I want to clarify something, because this is what we call a nuanced issue, which is something that the internet struggles with these days. Everyone is allowed to like what they want. Say you like country music. Your favorite artist is a country singer. There's a new album coming out and you're super hyped about it. Then you go and listen to it, and it's death metal. You go on their Instagram because you're like, what? Surprise! Your favorite artist took a trip to Norway, took a bunch of mushrooms, went to a death metal show, and decided that death metal is what they are doing now. If you hate death metal, you will probably move on from this artist, and you'd be well within your right to do so. You'd also be well within your right to be a little sad or annoyed. But that's it. You shouldn't be mad at this artist, or group of artists, who are independent people with their own thoughts and likes and dislikes and aspirations for wanting to try something new. They don't owe you anything. In fact, if you followed them and enjoyed what they've created for any meaningful amount of time, you should probably give them the benefit of the doubt and go give their new stuff a listen. You've trusted them this long, give them a chance. The music industry isn't the best at incentivizing creativity. They just want to make money as quickly and easily as possible. They don't want to take risks because risk means the probability of less money. And why would you risk not making money on something new when you can just make the same thing year after year and print money? If we want art to progress and to not stagnate, then artists are the ones that need to keep pushing the envelope, taking that risk on themselves, and we need to encourage those efforts wholeheartedly. If what they make isn't your taste, fine, but it's wrong to begrudge them for wanting to turn in a different direction after a while. That's punishing the artist for their nature. That's what artists do. And if you do that, you're an asshole. Okay, so if you're still here, I assume that you want to know how to support artists. Here's the thing. This part of the video is not about how to support Bright Eyes, because they've done pretty well for themselves over the years. Don't get me wrong, great stuff, everyone should listen to it, but that's just not what this is about. This part of the video is about how to support an artist that you don't even know about yet. They're not out on a national tour, they're bussing tables. They're not at the Grammys, they're in their bedroom learning how to use GarageBand. Your support matters to all artists, but at that level, the effect is magnified tenfold. First and foremost, we support artists by being open and receptive, by viewing art as more of a conversation than a transaction. It's a process, and this process won't always go in this order that I'm describing it, but I like to think of it as a story. Also, I know I'm talking about musicians here, but I think that this applies to all types of art and artists. You just have to extrapolate a little bit. The first thing you should do is go to small local shows. Remember that time when you went to that like weird little dingy cafe and you saw that bulletin board with the flyer on it that said like, open mic Thursday nights with Steve, sign-ups at 7. And you looked around and you thought, how do they do open mic here? Go find out how they do open mic in there. Tons of musicians get their start at open mic. You can see a lot of different people all in one night. Some will be nervous, some will make mistakes. Smile and clap and be enthusiastic anyway, because what they're doing up there is hard. So you're at open mic and you see a guy playing and you think, oh, he's good. Go tell him that. Don't hog all of his time, but have a little conversation. 9 times out of 10, he will be thrilled to hear that and would love to tell you more about what he does. In that conversation, there are 2 questions that you should ask. First is, are you playing any shows? So, do you have any shows coming up? He might go,
yeah, my band Fennel Grub is playing the Crepe Room next month. You should come check us out.
The Crepe Room? Oh, I thought that place closed. They had the best crepes.
Yeah, well, actually, it turns out they'll be reopening. A couple people bought the license and they're reopening the place.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we'll see you there next month?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Great.
And you'll be so happy that a small venue survived and now you have a show to look forward to. The next question you should ask is, how can I listen to your music? Which brings me to my next point. Buy their music if they have made it available. Don't just stream, buy. Streaming is convenient for the listener, and that's about it. Sometimes it's good for exposure if you get on a playlist, but artists can't really count on that. The best thing you can do is to buy their physical CD or vinyl. They might not have those available if they're just starting out. In that case, they might direct you to their however you can, buy something from them. Streaming doesn't pay anything. Say Fennel Grub has a 10-song album and pays half a cent per stream. If you listen to the whole album once, Fennel Grub got 5 cents. Say Fennel Grub is selling a CD for $13. You would have to listen to the album 260 times on to make what they would have made selling you a CD. The actual math might actually be worse than that. The files on streaming platforms are also compressed garbage MP3s, and you don't need to be an audiophile to know that CDs and vinyl are just better quality. Oh, and the streaming platform can also take down music that you like whenever they want. With a physical copy or even like a file download from now you have it forever. So you paid and you downloaded Fennel Grub's album on great. Now you're at the show at the Crepe Room. What do? Tell the bouncer that you're there to see Fennel Grub and pay your cover. Because a lot of times the bands get paid based on the number of people that come in saying that they're there to see that band. Then have fun at the show. Dance, sing along if you really know the songs, be enthusiastic. That's all a part of this big art conversation that we're having. The band will notice, they will have a better time, and they will probably play better if they're really into it because the crowd's into it. When they're done, say hi really quick, tell them you love their set, and then go buy some merch, t-shirts, stickers, whatever they have available. Then you are ready to go out and spread the good word. Put on your Fennel Grub t-shirt and go to the store.
Welcome to Bun Runner. Oh, hey, that's a nice shirt. What is that?
It's this super cool new local band called Fennel Grub. You have to check them out. And the cashier will go,
Fennel Grub? Wow. That's a pretty cool name. Whoever came up with a name like that must be pretty cool. They gotta make some good music. Are they on some sort of streaming platform?
They are available on all streaming platforms, but you should buy their album on and repeat. Go to more Fennel Grub shows. When they have enough money and they make their first run of CDs, buy two. One for yourself and one for your new friend at the store.
Oh, you're that Fennel Grub babe. Yeah, I've been meaning to check out their music. I got a little listen to it, and I think it's pretty good so far. Oh, what's this? Is this their album? Chinese Dragon Kempo? Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty rad name. Well, I guess I'll have to get a CD player to listen to it.
Go back to open mic and see who else is playing. The conversation is ongoing. Don't just consume, engage. Then 10 years from now, when Fennel Grub gets on Instagram Live, if Instagram Live still exists in 10 years, and says,
Guys, Justin here from Fennel Grub, and I just want to let you know, I just got back from Guitar Center. I traded in all my guitars, and I bought all kinds of synths, and I'm ready to bring you the best synth pop album you've ever heard. Just wait till fall this year. We're getting synthy, baby. I've been taking MDMA microdosing for the past 3 weeks, and we're good to go. I'm gonna be microdosing till about mid-November when the album releases. So get ready for Fennel Grub synth pop. Here we go.
you will have practiced being receptive to art for a decade, and you'll go, oh yeah, I know these guys. This is gonna be cool. I'm not a huge Oasis fan, but Noel Gallagher has one of my favorite quotes about people and music. The consumer didn't want Jimi Hendrix, but they got him, and it changed the world. The consumer didn't want Sgt. Pepper's, but they got it. And they didn't want the Sex Pistols, but they got it. The customer. The customer doesn't know what he wants. You give it to him, and he likes it. Seriously, if you ask people what they want, they'll probably say more of stuff that they've liked in the past. Even if someone says that they want something new, they're still kind of referencing things that they've liked in the past to create this like unconscious expectation of what they're going to like in the future. And to really support art and artists, you have to let go of that. It is so fun and freeing to go to a show, whether you know the artist or not, with a good attitude and zero expectations. You're not gonna like everything, and that's okay. It's all part of the process. And that's how art remains art and not just another generic product. Art evolves when we ask the artist, what do I want? And the artist, through our relationship that we've built, feels comfortable enough to respond. You know, I just wrote this new song, and I'm really proud of it. I think you're gonna love it too.
Thanks for giving me this, stranger.